Hello, and thanks for joining us for another community panel leading up to the election. I'm Justin Hinton. Today we are speaking with Black voters here in the Las Vegas Valley. We want to start by introducing you to our panelists. So up first, we have Lou Collins. He's a Las Vegas native, an entrepreneur, and a community influencer. Up next, we have Dinesha Mingo, another Las Vegas native. She is the CEO of Mingo Health Solutions and the founder of Solutions of Change, a nonprofit that provides free therapy services. We also have Shanice Stevens, another Las Vegas native. She's the Director of Community Engagement with Junior Achievement and a board member for Code Switch, Restorative Justice for Girls of Color. And last but certainly not least, we have Chandler Cooks, the State Director for the NAACP, and continuing our theme here, another Las Vegas native. Thank you all for being with us here today. I want to get started and jump right in. Is there any particular issue that concerns you the most this election?
I would say just the way education is handled. So that students understand the cost of education and the resources that they have available to them.
I'm about $200,000 in student loan debt. I went to an HBCU. I can only imagine what it would have been like if I went to an Ivy League school. So, you know.
Or PWI.
Or PWI, right?
Predominantly white institution, if you don't know what that stands for.
Education is key. They can't take that from you.
I went to a PWI, but because I was in different atmospheres where I was a part of programs that helped me understand, I did not have to pay for college, and I got my master's covered. So I would like those tools to be available to other students so that you don't have to be in debt and you can use the system to your benefit.
I would put either a tax credit on college education or trades, something where the future can not worry about an immense debt to get an education or get some sort of job.
Can I just say really quick 3 things?
Sure.
So for me, reparations, absolutely. Our humanity is at stake for me in this election because it has gotten so much more bold that it's scary. And I don't get scared easily. Lastly, obviously I work in healthcare, so the Affordable Care Act is a major thing.
There's been a tremendous shift in the purpose of what's relatively important for African Americans, primarily for men.
The pressures that other black men feel, that eliminates their feeling of power. They feel not only discouraged, but they feel that the system isn't in their favor. When I speak to our low propensity voters, those who don't care to vote, aren't registered to vote, I don't talk about the president. We only talk about local issues because the president isn't going to fix the potholes in your street. The president isn't going to look over the curriculum of the department or the education system in your city. That's local politicians.
Having a superintendent that cares about the students that are in the classroom, creating curriculum and the requirements that give students tools that reflect what they need to handle for today in their day-to-day. So whether it's them going to college, going into the military, or going into the workforce, especially in Las Vegas, so that we can keep students here in the Valley to help the economy.
We have to guide our people to understand what their vote means before we can tell them that it matters.
I think that black men, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'm engaged in a lot of conversations, there's a lot of hurt that we are experiencing because now we're being so disregarded.
Do you feel that's why we hear a lot, whether or not it's happening or not, it's a different story, but do you think that's why we're hearing a lot about black men moving more towards Donald Trump?
Yes, that is a part of that. Now, personally, I don't agree with that. I don't personally agree with that, but I do have some cronies who are supporting Trump. I do have some
Other black men?
Other black men, yes, other black men that are supporting Trump. So I'm
For that reason?
For that reason and other reasons.
Chauvinist.
Say that again?
Chauvinist.
Just being male chauvinist, which is ignorance.
Talk to at least 100 black men who are in support of Donald Trump.
Are in support.
Are in support. They may not even vote, right? But they're in support because they don't understand the issues at hand. They know that during COVID, they received a check
With Donald Trump's name on it.
With Donald Trump's name on it, and it didn't come from him, right? But they see the effect, right? They see how a president has touched their life, and pseudo in a sense, but they're not seeing those type of things from Democratic presidents. They don't care to wait 4 years for change, right? My light bill is due next week. I have mouths to feed today, right? My bank account balance is low. I need a quick fix right now. Donald Trump appeases to those people who are ignorant of the system and don't know what a true leader would look like for this country. You know, he can spew out lies, and I'm nonpartisan, so I shouldn't be, you know, picking sides, but, you know, ignorance is gold to a fool. So that's truly what it is.
As Black women, do you feel like there has been an intentional push to galvanize Black women, or did that come from you as a whole, as a community, saying, we're gonna step up and support this woman?
When she opted that she was going to run for candidate, the Black women that I knew were like, well, let's put on our shoes and let's get out here and get people ready to vote. So it wasn't, I would say, even a request from her up front. It was already, we came knowing that we were ready to support her and whatever that looked like without needing to be asked.
It is very disappointing and sometimes disheartening to see the lack of support from Black men. And I think what the Black women are doing is pushing their way forward. I think that we have pushed in spite of what's against us, and I think that's what we have done differently than Black men. And we have come together and we've led and recognized our power and walked in it.
So why is that different for Black men, that you feel like you have to be asked rather than just stepping up?
I'm sure there are more Black women that are registered voters than Black men. It sounds like it's like we're against each other, and I don't want it to seem like that, because that's not the case at all. But you know, Black men are incarcerated at higher rates, right? Our education level is so much lower. Our income levels are lower. That has a huge impact on the way we perceive the system, right? And if that is not being addressed, then the Black vote, the Black male vote, you know, our belief in it and our, you know, belief in that power, it's not there. It's non-existent.
He said it was suppressed.
It absolutely is suppressed. It absolutely is suppressed. I believe that the Black male vote is suppressed. It's a lot more subtle than, you know, over the past few decades, but it's there still. And it's through, you know, not strategically educating them and putting them in a position of power.
I'm glad to hear this. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because it's been a lot of conversation over social media, and to feel this here in the room, it's so powerful. So I just want to say thank you for how you led off. I guess for me, I just want to say to these two sitting here, like, for Black women, we don't flourish if our community is not flourishing. And that means if y'all are not flourishing. And so I know sometimes the dialogue around what's happening is positioned differently, but I think it's very few Black women that you can talk to where it's not in our hearts to ensure that we are also galvanizing and supporting y'all. And so I think then more conversations like this need to happen, so that we don't feel unsupported and feel like there's tension, because it sounds like you all are also feeling unsupported. Because I think what's most important for us in this election is that this woman gets in the office, because this other person who can be in the office is going to be a very detrimental to the Black community as a whole. We need to focus on the task at hand and all of these different things that are on the ticket and that are issues right now that impact our community, and all of those disparities that have been mentioned.
We've only scratched the surface, but we got to go. I mean, we could talk about this for another 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, but I do want to thank you all for spending some time with us today, and hopefully educating and enlightening some folks about what Black folks are feeling when it comes to this election. So I appreciate you all for your time.
The same as all.